everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Thank you guys so much for being here today on this lovely Monday afternoon or Monday morning or Monday night, wherever you guys are right now in the world. Yes, we have election day tomorrow. And so, I know a lot of people probably will be voting for Bigfoot tomorrow. So I did put Bigfoot on the thumbnail today. That is I was going to make that the theme of the show today. And I did get some inspiration from Cosmic Sovereign Wildman. I don't know if you're in the chat today, Cosmic Sovereign Wildman or Sovereign Cosmic Wildman. I'm sorry. But he's trying to push us towards that algorithm. And so I definitely gave the Bigfoot a pin that said, instead of saying I voted today, it said I farted today. Okay, so it's just to help the algorithm. Okay. So I'm kind of warming up to it. Okay. I'm definitely warming up to it today. All right. So I hope you guys are ready for a really fun show today. This is going to be super laid back, super chill. I've got some things that I want to discuss today, some things that I came across on the web over the weekend. And I think it's important that we kind of bring these things up for your entertainment, because this is always for entertainment purposes only. And yeah, and I'm about sick of all these political ads. I don't know about y'all. I'm about sick of it. I'll be so glad after tomorrow's over. Okay, just be done with it. And yeah, and Bigfoot's running too. Bigfoot's running for president tomorrow, so y'all don't forget. Okay. Anyways, if you guys would like to follow along with all of my shows and stuff, y'all go hit me up over at decryptidhuntress.com. I have an archive of all of my shows there that go all the way back. My Patreon information's there, all of my social media links, my calendar of events. Oh, yeah, that includes this week, y'all. I'm going to be at the Molina Bigfoot Festival this weekend. Okay, Friday night, I'm actually going to be at the library in town and going to be giving a presentation on Bigfoot. Hopefully, we'll have some of the locals that come out to that, and we'll have swap some stories about Bigfoot in that area. This is home to the Elkins Creek Bigfoot. The most famous Bigfoot castings in Georgia came out of this area in Molina. And man, there's a chance I might be camping out down there. I hope. We'll see if we make that this week. But yeah, this is the event. We've got some great speakers that are going to be there, and vendors and music and things for the kids to do. The vendors are amazing. They have the best Bigfoot stuff. Okay, so come see us. I will be speaking around lunchtime. I got to pick my time. So I said 12. So I think I'm going to be speaking at 12 o'clock Eastern. Okay, over there in Molina. So I hope to see y'all there. I know last year I had a bunch of people that showed up that watched the show, and it was amazing. So thank y'all so much for all your support for that. Also, here's this. I just saw this. This is the inspiration for the show today. Yes, I did go with Bigfoot Karen. Vote for Bigfoot Karen for president, y'all. Okay. All right. Like I mentioned, I do have a Patreon if y'all want to support the channel, and that is wonderful. I appreciate it very much. And shout out to all my Patreon members. You guys are the best. And I do have a shop that's called War Woman Goods. If you guys want to shop with my shop for Christmas for gifts, it's much appreciated, y'all, very much. And you guys rock. All right, well, let's get to our show today, because I've got a few things to talk about, and I have a surprise guest in here today. My buddy Long Island Bigfoot is here to join us today. I was going to be talking about some Long Island stuff, and I thought, let me see if Mike wants to join us on the show today, and he did. I am super excited. Yes, you guys, without further ado, let me just go ahead and introduce Mike. He is a very dedicated, boots on the ground Bigfoot field researcher based in Long Island, New York. I have actually spent some time with him in the field doing some Bigfooting myself up at Montauk at Camp Hero, and he's the real deal, y'all. So please help me welcome to the show, Mr. Long Island Bigfoot himself, Mike.
Thanks.
What's up?
How's it going?
Hey, good. How are you? How you been?
Good. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah. I mentioned you over the weekend. I don't know. I guess you were in there. You saw Mr. Dinko D was on the show, and I kept mentioning you and all your Bigfoot excursions and stuff up there.
Yeah. That was a great show. It was a lot of fun. It was nice to see. You guys like kind of reminiscing like in the moment. It's a lot of fun.
It was a blast from the past for
Yeah.
sure for both of us. And yeah, he was, I think he was kind of shocked at all the high strangeness that goes on around Long Island.
Yeah.
Could you tell?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. It is to everybody, you know, like including myself, right? Like I was one of those people that I don't know. So I guess like had your head in the sand, right? Like you just don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
What do we have to go off? Like if you ever just like Google or you go on YouTube and type in Bigfoot, right? The stuff that is gonna come back to you is all like that mass media stuff, right? Which is like a joke in a sense, you know what I mean? Like the best thing that you'll find in there is like Animal Planet, like finding Bigfoot. You know, which is
Right. I know, right? Well, he was giving us some inside scoop on some of the things that he had experienced in Long Island or just in, you know, in New York City. And it was vampires, even people he's close to, he believes are clones too.
Right. Yeah, there's so much stuff going on in there that, like, you know, you could go forever. Like, just the level of depth to it. I wish there was somebody that would do that kind of stuff in like New York City and even Los Angeles too. Maybe go like check out the supposed underground reptilian tunnels and all that.
Oh yeah, we've got underground reptile cities in Los Angeles. Okay, the underground lizard people city is what they called it. You know, the Grand Canyon is known to have reptilians in it, and I mean, Skateboard Swamp. We talked about that over the weekend too. It's wild, all the stuff we got going on. But yeah, I thought that was really wild because, you know, Dinko and I had not had a discussion about really what we were going to talk about on the show. And I did not, I was hoping he'd talk about some celebrity hot, like some tea. Okay. I wanted to get the scoop, right? And he was very candid. I'm super, super impressed how candid he was on that show. So yeah, it wasn't shocking, but I was excited about it. So
yeah, that was good. It was good. I've seen his interviews before and stuff like that, and he's not as open as he was with you, but I guess that rapport, right, it goes a long way.
It helps to be friends with people when you bring them on your shows and stuff, and so it's yeah, I can appreciate it big time, and I can appreciate you being here. Oh my gosh, I've got some wacky stuff to talk about today. It's not all wacky; some of it's very serious. Okay, but let's start off with like something that's a little bit wacky. Okay. So I came across this picture the other day and I thought, man, it kind of reminded me of when I did a show with Dennis Carroll and it was about mandrakes. Okay. And it was about like plants that look like humans. Sometimes there's things called mandrakes where they were actually like, I think they're made like when you pour like human blood into the ground or something and it like creates what looks like it's like a human plant kind of underground. I know it's really weird. And then if you pull it out with your hand, then you die. Okay. So what people would do is they would tie a rope around the top of the mandrake, the leaves that came out of the ground, and they'd connect it to an animal like a dog. And they'd do something to like make the dog run and the dog would pull it out of the ground. The mandrake would come out and it'd scream. And then the dog would pass away right there. It's a wild story, right? Well, I got my hands on I got some pictures here of something that I find very interesting. And I know when I was reading about this, I mean, this showed up on Reddit. Okay. Reddit, it's like TikTok, like a trusted news source. Huh? Wink, wink.
Right.
And so this thing right here, now, okay, so this looks something like an alien. Okay, it looks kind of like an alien, but it came out of a woman's garden.
You remember that Spaceballs movie when the thing comes out of the guy's stomach and starts dancing? Like that's what it kind of reminds me of.
I do.
Or even those things in Men in Black that are in like the like not the cafeteria. What's it called? I don't know. The break room. I guess it would be
oh yeah, that's right. Yes, it does look like that. Here, I've got some more pictures of it because this was around about 10 months ago. There was somebody just started posting pictures on Reddit, and they were claiming, I think it was a woman who claimed that her mom's friend, who was elderly, okay, like an older lady, had pulled this out of her garden, and she was kind of freaked out about it. So she didn't know if it was like a mushroom or some kind of a root. It looks like a root. Okay. Okay. First of all, it said that she found it in her garden. It didn't say that she dug it up out of her garden. It didn't say dug up. It said found in her garden. Now, those are two different pictures of the same thing right there. I mean,
that's pretty crazy. Look at the nostrils. Like, that's something that I always look for. Like, when I'm in the woods and like I'm looking into like thick brush, and it's almost like, right, you're playing that game. Remember, you used to go to the doctor's office and they would have highlights. It's like a little kid's magazine, and you have to like find things in there, right? Almost like Where's Waldo. And then there's those magic eyes where you had to stare at a certain point and it would pop up, right? And like that's kind of what I'm doing in the woods is I'm looking for like symmetry, because there's so much stuff out there that you could be like, oh, there's an eyeball or there's this, right? But when you find that perfect symmetry like that, it's hard to write off, where like those nostrils and the eyes are almost perfectly placed.
It's okay. It looks like it has breast. Okay.
Yeah.
If you look at it, it's got like nipples, dare I say. Okay. It's got nostrils, like you said. It looks like it's got arms and like tentacles for legs or something. It's just really weird looking. To me, it looks like an alien. It does. Now, my question is, did they eat it? Okay, did she cook it? I'm just kidding. That's terrible. It's terrible. Because if it came out of your garden, I mean, people in the comments were saying, okay, so this thing actually got the photos got taken down off Reddit at some point. Like shortly after she posted this, it got taken down. But people had already seen it, taken pictures, and spread it all over the internet. And so most people were saying, they were laughing at it, saying that they thought that this was ginseng.
Yeah.
Okay. So what? Okay, Boo. I'm looking at the comments in the chat today. Boo said it looks photoshopped. The edges are pixelated. Okay. Andrew said it looks like burdock root or ashwagandha.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That I agree.
I mean, it could just be ginseng, and then they like stuck a pencil in its, and made nostrils or something. Who knows? You just never know what somebody did beforehand.
Oh my god, the guy found a Pokemon creature in his bag of salad. Oh my gosh. Yes, ginseng. Okay, so a xenomorph. Okay. Oh, Barry's in the chat too. Hey, Barry. And Andrew said a xenomorph. Yeah, Barry said it. Okay, I'm kind of going backwards in my chat here. Xenomorph. There we go. And a mandrake too. I think it could be. I mean, it looks like a mandrake. Chances are this is probably natural. Okay, it's probably natural, but I do want to show some pictures of ginseng root. Okay, so here's the other picture of the two right here. It's actually one, but this is just different views of it. This is what ginseng generally looks kind of like this. Okay. It's okay. If everybody knows what ginseng is, I think ginseng is actually legal to pick. You're not supposed to pick it, right? No, I think you go to jail for it.
It's kind of like moonshine in a sense. Like there's like an underground market for it,
Well, you're not supposed to pick it, especially not in like national parks and stuff. Ginseng, it does have humanistic characteristics. Okay, it can kind of look like a little humanish. I mean, it doesn't help. They got pictures like this. It's like ginseng root. It looks like your nervous system, right? Or your vascular system. I think it's your nervous system there. So when it looks like your nervous system, it's probably good for your nervous system, right? Just like mushrooms are good for your ears and kidney beans are good for your kidneys, and things like that. Ginseng actually has a lot of benefits. So this is just a quick little overview of that. You guys take your ginseng pills. It's good for you. It's good for hangovers. It says right there. Okay. Stress, fever, a lot of things that have to do with your nervous system, actually. So ginseng is good for you. Now, is this ginseng? I don't think so, but I mean, it could be a potato.
Maybe. Yeah. I guess it could be. I don't know enough about ginseng to say for sure what if that's possible or not. I don't have a clue. I've never physically held like maybe in a supermarket or something. I don't know.
Right. Okay. So I know. Hold on, I'm trying to get my comments down. Okay. Some people are saying this is a fairy. Okay, like it could be something from the Fae. Dennis and I also did a show on like tree fairies. I think it was like tree fairies or something like that.
Yeah.
And it could be something like that too. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, when you
I
dive,
thought it was weird.
when you go down that elemental rabbit hole, like it's endless. It's endless. Like it's almost. I'm pretty sure it's almost endless. I'm not even being exaggerating. Pretty much anything you can dream up is like it has a name for it, and you know.
Yes.
Like I have a
Okay.
deck of cards that's elementals, and like I think it's only the earth elementals too. It's not even like water and all the other stuff. So
Mm-hmm. You know what? That actually kind of looks like ginger too. I was thinking it kind of looks a little bit like ginger, but it's a little
yeah,
different. Probably in the
that's
same
it.
family. Like ginseng, ginger. I would think, but I don't know.
I don't know.
But Barry says, isn't mandrake also supposed to be a serious aphrodisiac? I think so, and that's why I pulled this up so you can see it's actually good for what do you call that? ED. I'm not going to say it on YouTube. Okay, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it probably is good for
Like
aphrodisiacs.
I have no idea what a mandrake is. Like my brain is so like ADD. I was thinking of the movie Mr. Deeds, and he's from Mandrake Falls. So, like,
Oh,
that's
okay.
where my head is. I don't know what a mandrake is.
Mandrake. Okay, they have mandrake. I think it's in Harry Potter. Okay, Joe Oregon Bubble says, you see all at Hogwarts, man. Okay,
Yeah.
Hogwarts actually did have they have mandrakes there, I think, and it's like a little plant. You try to grab it and it takes off running.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I get it. Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird, but it's featured on Harry Potter. So like, I kind of wondered now. A lot of these movies are like soft disclosure. Is that just showing us like what really exists? Okay, like is this real?
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think so. Especially the way they just like kind of walk through a wall, and then there's that alternate dimension right next door that like none of us know is there. You know what I mean? And like just there's so much to it. Yeah, there's so many depths, and then you have some other stuff in there. I think that has nothing to do with anything. Like 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 a talking hat. Like
Yeah. Oh, totally. But they put little gems in there in a lot of these movies that we watch.
Definitely,
Um,
definitely.
but this right here, this would genuinely freak me out if I pulled this out of my garden. I would be weirded out by this for sure. But anyways, I just thought I would bring this up. I know it's kind of making its rounds around the internet right now, and I like to keep my ear to the street, okay, as we say. And so there's that. All right. Well, since I've got you here, I wanted to talk today a little bit about Plum Island because I did mention that with Dinko over the weekend. I don't know a whole lot about Plum Island. I've done a little bit of research. It's actually run by Homeland Security now, right?
Yeah. And oh man, they have even publicly they have so many answers for what they do there, and none of them line up. Like this year actually it's supposed to close down is what I'm seeing like in the latest news about it. And it's supposed to be going to Manhattan, Kansas. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, why would it I'm like, what are the odds of it going across the country into the middle of the Midwest and landing in a place called Manhattan? Which is just odd to me. But anyway.
Yeah, it's really odd for sure. Boo says that thing is nothing a good shovel won't take care of. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I know. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's a funny comment. I had to pull that one up. Okay, well, nobody really knows what's going on there. But when I was like digging through looking for some information on Plum Island, I found some pictures, okay, of things that might be from there. Now, for people who are not familiar with Plum Island, they say that it's actually a place where they do like animal disease prevention or something like that. But they say that there's a lot of experiments done on animals there.
Of course, we'll never know for sure. Yeah, but definitely, yeah. That's supposed to be where they worked on animals, and then Montauk was humans, right? And then I won't get into the rest. There's other places that aren't public that I won't drop, but there's other places too.
Interesting. Well, I was actually reading some comments too, and people are saying, well, like, just don't ever try to go there. Don't get anywhere near it because people go missing from around there. And it's rumored that they are actually taken down there and used for experimentation. That's what I heard. Okay. Now, how tragic is that though? If that's true, and I'm just saying this is for entertainment purposes only, because we got Montauk there too. That's right at Montauk, right?
Yeah, and then Brookhaven Labs is not far away. Like that's more towards me. Like Brian's out more a little more east than I am. It's not far as the crow flies, but like when you're talking only so many ways to go because you're on an island, it could be time consuming. But yeah, I'm closer to like BNL, Brookhaven National Labs, and there's just always stuff going on. And you and Dinko actually touched on something that I've talked about before, where he brought up Pilgrim State, which I actually used to work there for a while before the military. And then yeah, it's a psych center. I was a housekeeper. Long story short, I was working on an all man's ward, and there was only all male ward, and there was only female staff. This lady was getting choked out, and I had to rescue her, but it was outside my job description, so I got fired. Yeah, it is good. Yeah.
You probably saved her life.
I did, yeah, for sure. For sure. I don't regret it one bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you got fired from there, but dang, well,
it's not a big deal.
Who's going to protect those people?
There's a fine line, you know what I mean? You're supposed to ring a bell and wait for people to come running that are trained, right?
Yeah.
There's not time to waste, but anyway. So Kings Park is the other psychiatric center down the road, which is closed down, and they kind of made it into a public area during the day, which is weird, but it's interesting. But you brought up, I wonder if they take people from there or they were taking them from Montauk. And it was like, wow, I can't believe she said that. And you guys got to that point, because that's something that somebody reported to me, is that they used to do that at the psych centers. They would either give something to the women to impregnate them and then take the baby, or they would come in pregnant and they would take the baby. They would either just tell the woman that they lost it and they would not question it, or they would, if they would have a lot of resistance. What kind of resistance do they have in that position, right? Like they're just, oh, she's crazy, she's out of her mind, she don't know what she's talking about, blah blah blah. But they were just taking those children and bringing them out to Monto.
Oh my God, that's horrible. That's horrible. It's that's what I was thinking too. I was like, okay, that's why this is so tragic. I mean, just think of all the different people that got kidnapped from there. Because I mean, it was bad enough when it was just like the Montauk project, which is huge. We're sitting there watching. We were all together up at Montauk at that house that we said we watched the movie. Okay, we were watching the what is that? The Montauk Files or something like that. I forgot the name of the movie.
Yeah, right.
We were watching that. Yeah, we were watching the movie about the Montauk project, and it was just heartbreaking watching that. And they were talking about all the people that had been kidnapped from that area, the children, the teenagers, runaways, adults, homeless people. And they were taken down to Camp Hero, allegedly. But now we've got like Plum Island. They say that there are animal and human hybrid things going on there, allegedly. Okay. Mm-hmm. All sorts of like really dark experiments were going on at places like this. This is terrible, but I was also, someone had written something about all the animal experiments going on there at Plum Island. And I probably shouldn't bring this up, but somebody said that their grandfather, I was reading a comment, they said their grandfather had delivered some linens over there to a facility there. And when he went in, he saw like dogs that were, it sounded, I don't want to go there because it's really sad and it makes me mad. Especially after this little peanut deal that just happened this week with that squirrel. Okay, it makes me mad. People mess with animals. All right. But it sounded like, they said that, I don't say Dr. Fauci, that guy, he was like experimenting on beagles, they said. And they said that's what they saw there at that facility. Were these just terrible experiments on dogs and stuff. But I think it even got even darker than that. Experimenting potentially with like humans as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the end. That's always the end game, right? The end goal.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
you know, like we're less, we're harder to come by than other things, right? Other animals or whatever the case may be. So that's why they work on some stuff with similar DNA to us or whatever the case may be, or even just rats, you know, whatever because they can, you know, what's that movie? iRobot or whatever. No, it was I Am Legend. That's what it was. When he has a bunch of rats in the basement and he's a scientist or whatever, and he's trying to find a cure and this and that. So I you know,
Well, it's usually everything's usually kind of boxed up and presented to the public like this is for the good of the whole, and we're, we're
right,
going to fight all these diseases and find cures for this and that. But like, do they? I don't know. It
right,
just
and
seems
then
it seems really weird.
yeah, it's supposed to be like since the 20s, I think it was like
Hmm.
it's supposed to be a foot and mouth or something. Uh, foot and mouth
Yes.
disease they're trying to cure and keep at bay or whatever. Like, but what foot and mouth disease? Like, what do you got? Why is it top secret? Like, I don't get it. And then it's animal control um and animal disease center or whatever they call it. Like I said, like there's so many different things. Just it's almost like one hand's not watching the other. They have no idea what's going on.
That's very true. Well, it's by design, I do believe,
So
and
Montauk is the southernmost tip, right, of
mhm.
Long Island. Like it's like a fish. Now the fish tail, the bottom of the tail is Montauk. The top of the tail is Orient Point, which is about a quarter mile away from this island. So you gotta. This is something I like people to pay attention to. Why is it all the way out there? You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
out of sight, out of mind type thing.
Ah, well, it's nice and isolated, very nice
Hmm.
and isolated. I was always told like if we want to get away from a zombie apocalypse, go to an island, right? Because you're not
Exactly.
supposed to be able to swim,
Yeah. Well,
which is ironic because we got the CDC here in Atlanta, in Georgia, where I live, and even the theme of like The Walking Dead, which is a great movie. It's filmed here in Georgia. Actually,
right.
it's filmed down there near Molina, where the Bigfoot Festival is this weekend, where I'll
Nice.
be. I'm going to take my son down. We're going to take some pictures at the places where they filmed The Walking Dead because that's his favorite show right now. Um, but it's so ironic that it's like in the first season. I watched the first season. Okay, so I know a little bit about it. Um, they were all trying to, I think they were trying to get to the CDC, or they're like, it did revolve around the
Yeah.
CDC.
Yeah.
Okay. But zombies, it was
Eventually
like, I
they
think they were responsible for the zombie outbreak, actually. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
eventually they get there, and it's just not what they expected. Basically, I
I
won't
know.
give it away if nobody's seen it, but
Everybody's probably saying it, but yeah,
it's just
don't
like
depend
one
on the
guy
government to help
there.
you.
Yeah, there's only like one doctor left, and he's like out of his tree.
Oh my God. I mean, it's a good moral here. The moral of the story is don't expect the government to come and help you and save you. And this is not just for entertainment purposes. It's for real. Um, don't depend on anybody to save you except for yourself. Okay. And have good friends and family around you. And sometimes, allegedly, it might be them that creates the problem. Okay, to begin with. But I digress. Let's get back to this. Okay, to the Plum Island, because Plum Island got on my radar when the Montauk Monster washed up to shore.
Right.
Okay, they call it the Montauk Monster. We talked about this the other night. I don't want to show it too long. That's that bloated animal right there. People say, oh, it was a raccoon. Probably raccoon. You know what? It totally could be a raccoon. I don't know.
I don't know.
Um,
Yeah.
I've seen bloated animals, that makes their bodies look totally different.
Sure, we
But
don't know how long that thing was on in the water, or like what it digested, or why it died, or
mhm.
I don't know. I don't know enough science to know what that does to a body. So
Okay, well, this right here is another animal that washed up on shore. This is actually from Plum Island on the beach. They say now that actually looks like a chimpanzee, if you ask me.
yeah,
That's what I think that is.
or
But
shit, or it
that
might be
was
bigger. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, well, it's okay. So that is supposed to be from 1959. That's from another. I think it was from like a Reddit post or something that said that the person who had it's actually a video. That's a screenshot from the video. They said that was from 1959. A man had bought a house in Long Island. The person he bought it from, that person's grandfather had left a trunk there that had some tapes in it, VHS tapes, and that one was labeled Plum Island Monster on there. It's something that had washed up on the shore there. I guess he worked there, Plum Island or something. I don't know. But anyways, that was there. I don't want to show it too much because these are deceased, probably animals right here. It's kind of gross, kind of sad.
I'm alive.
Yeah.
I'm alive, right?
Right. Well, but then, okay, so let's fast forward to 20. So that Montauk Monster, I think it was 2008, 2008, 2010. They said that a human or a humanoid with extra long fingers had washed up on shore too. What do you know anything about that?
Oh, is that the thing that Brian has in his book?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe is this one of the pictures? Yes.
So this one here, like in the middle there, it's actually part of his book. Like it's but that had holes drilled into the head, and like so his interpretation is that that's a police sketch, no less, of what they somebody was saying they found, and
Wow.
yeah, but look at the fingers and like there's drill holes in the head. So Brian was saying he is kind of comfortable venturing out to say that it was like under some kind of experiment, right? Like it had drill holes in the forehead, so you could actually see it in the picture of the police sketch that there was 5 holes in his head.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm going to get Brian on the show too. I'll bring Brian on the show. We'll talk about this just specifically one day with Brian. I need to send him a message. He wrote me the other day, and I need to write him back. I need to check and see if he wrote me back actually too. But I want to bring Brian on the show. This is Brian Monok, you guys. Brian Monok is the author of the book is called Montauk is Strange, right? Yes, Montauk is Strange. You guys, please purchase this book. Order it if you can. Look it up on Amazon.
It's huge.
Yeah. It's a big, thick book. It's a beautiful book. Brian has put his whole life work into he spent so much time on this book. He is the resident expert on Montauk and Camp Hero and the Montauk Project. Okay. And this is fascinating. I didn't even know about this. I did not realize this was in his book.
There's so much in there. There's so much in there. It's every time you pick it up, you can find something new.
Yeah. Okay. Well, wow. All right. Well, this is blowing my mind. So that looks like an alien or some sort of hybrid.
I don't know. Those fingers are really weird too. Like, what would you have to say to a cop to get him to draw that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why are the fingers so long? And like, I don't know. I can only imagine what the description sounded like.
Because he drew what he saw. That's why he drew what he saw, or she or he drew what he saw, and that's the result right there. Now, okay, what are the odds of like the Montauk Project and Plum Island working in conjunction with each other since they're right there?
110%, yeah. And then
that looks like
there's more involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Jess.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
You go.
I was just gonna say, like, that looks like something out of Stranger Things right there. And
Agreed.
This is supposed to be from Plum Island, maybe.
It looks like Vecna or whatever the guy's name is.
Mm-hmm.
In the last, the very, very end of Stranger Things.
Yeah. It's weird. It's yeah, my son would know all about that. I only watched like the first season and then part of the second season. I need to watch more of that, but of Stranger Things. That was the first season was so good.
Yeah, it was. It really was.
Okay, so this is all hit Montauk. I think that Dinko was a little blown away though, for real, about all the stuff that happens on Long Island.
It's a lot to digest.
Stuff. Yeah.
There's more too, and I need to I'm actually gonna be writing a book on this stuff, and I've been inspired to just do it. I feel like it needs to be done. But you know, what I want to do is kind of just like bring in different people's aspects of things, and like including Brian and DHP. And then I was hoping maybe you could remote view, and I could have those, you know, involved the remote viewing of the areas in question, and then have those
Yeah,
added into, you know, each uncovering of each location. Uh, just
yeah.
thought it would be cool.
I would love to. Absolutely. That sounds like a plan for
Yeah.
sure. Now Abbott's saying that the hold on, let me pull this out of the way. Trepanation drilling holes in head to relieve pressure of brain. Okay. I had a fellow on the show a while back named Dr. Wu who came on, and he used to work at the Smithsonian. He's a military veteran and an anthropologist, and he said that he actually handled the bones, okay, at the Smithsonian of the giants. He saw them, he took notes on them or something. I forgot what he said, okay, exactly. But he was in contact with some of these giant bones. He mentioned that he saw holes in the skulls. He said there were holes in the skulls. Now, I thought we were going to be talking about them being executed or something. I was actually ready to blow the lid off this story, right? But then he was like, "Oh, I think it was may have been for trepidation or trepanation, not trip.
Oh,
Trepidation's another word. Um, trepanation is what he said." But he doesn't know. You know, I don't think a lot of stuff's hidden from us. The fact that the skulls had holes in them, though, makes you wonder.
anytime, yeah, and anytime you see, like, I always say this, when you look at a place from above, like, look at the symmetry of it. You know what I mean? Like, usually the circle locations, like if something's a big circle in the middle of of a place, you could usually look at it from Google Maps. But those are the places that go straight down, you know, under the ground. And I don't know where I was going with that, but
I wanted to say thank you to Jennifer Patterson. What's up, lady? Thank you so much for that super sticker. That's so sweet of you. I believe that Jennifer also said, "Can we see the video of Junior at Montauk sometime?" Now, I know I mentioned Dinko that you potentially have some pictures and videos of Junior, and I think we've actually showed those on my show before a long time ago.
yeah, most likely.
Some of your pictures, I know we did the first time I brought you on the show.
Well, that's actually the original photo of Junior. How do I
Oh, right
point?
here in Brian's pictures in
Yeah,
Brian's book.
yeah, it's on the top there. The top shelf of that is Junior. It's just zoomed in when he was on the bunker, and that was taken from, I don't know, a helicopter or a small plane. I think maybe.
Oh, okay, that's amazing. I do remember we showed these on the show that when the first time I brought you on my show. I think it was at Space Out Radio. I think we saw
Probably.
those. Those are great pictures. And Mike, for the audience, a lot of people may not know who Junior is. Can you tell everybody who Junior is
Yeah, yeah.
or
So
what Junior is?
yeah, Junior was kind of conjured up apparently from Preston. I think Preston Nichols, and the Montauk project was kind of all over the place, and probably, I don't know, maybe getting out of hand. And as the story goes from Peter Moon's book, uh, you know, you got to deal with fact and fiction being kind of muffled there, right? And Junior was conjured up in a sense to destroy the project, destroy the Montauk project, and he's described as a monster who destroyed everything. Right, just came through and trashed and thrashed, and nobody could stop it, and that's how basically everything came to a screeching halt, because it was terminated by Junior. And I got a like telepathic download at one point when we were out there. It was right after I found that reel. Right after I found that reel, and I passed it off to everyone, and they were still like cheering for like from happiness and screaming up and down that they found that reel to reel. And so as soon as I handed it to them, I'm like, "You could have it. I don't, what am I gonna do with it?" And all of a sudden, I got hit with this wave of like this telepathic thing, and just saying, um, "I wasn't the monster. Those humans were the monster. I put an end to it." And like, I don't remember the exact verbiage, but that was the message in a nutshell. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much what I got on that. And yeah, I think I possibly recorded it that one day. I'm not sure. I was filming something. I thought I knew what I was looking at. So I called over a couple of people who were with us. I think it was Jonathan, and then I called over DHP or whatever, and just asked them, "Hey, look at this. What do you think?" Um, you know, everyone that says, "Oh, why don't you run up to it and double check?" Like, if you think that's what you got in your sights, you don't go, towards it.
Yeah. Um, I had the opportunity to go out there and hunt for a junior with you guys.
Yeah.
And I unfortunately I decided to sleep in the morning that you guys actually had some potential interaction with him because I was exhausted.
It's all right.
So dang it. But we still had a really interesting time there. And we had some weird stuff that went down there.
Yeah.
Especially when we were
Well,
doing that ceremony out there
yeah,
with
that
the
was
group.
like the night run. I forget. We were probably out there pretty late, I think. Because it was fairly quiet. For that time in Montauk, for it to be dead silent in Montauk, it's hard to explain. But where we were, we should have received any vocals from any direction. Period in Montauk, because we were at the high point, and like it's I don't know, between boats and the town and all sorts of stuff in the Montauk Manor. We were right next to the Montauk Manor at Council Rock, um, and yeah, it was interesting. I think we had more than I can explain. Let's put it that way, right? I think there was a lot of stuff going on there, quite a bit.
There was. But yeah, Camp Hero, the Montauk Project, it was filled with experimentation on a lot of children. Uh, just really, really dark stuff. We were there with some of
Yeah,
the survivors of the programs, and yeah, it was a pretty amazing trip to get to go there. But you could feel the dark energy of that place for sure, being there,
yeah,
and a lot of suffering happened there, a lot of trauma. And it's not just with the humans, but also with animals. Like we were picking up on the animals' trauma as well, and the Bigfoot, and whatever was out there. We were feeling all of that.
yeah.
So
James was, James Rink was connecting to some stuff too. I think he even said some names of Sasquatch, and I was my neck kind of snapped, and I was like, well, like I looked at him, I was like, wow, okay, all right.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I was mentioning to Dinko, I was like, I talked about the Shaluminati. Since I don't say that, trying to say that word too much. The Shaluminati over there, that Montauk Manor too. And he was like, oh yeah, there's plenty of that around New York,
Yeah,
so
once you
a lot
see
of
that,
ties.
once you see the manor at dark, from that angle, yeah, you
Mhm.
knew right away. I wasn't gonna say anything, but you picked up on it. So
The Shaluminati. Of course, I felt like we were gonna get kidnapped. Okay, I really did. I did not have anything to protect myself with other than my two guns right here, my fists.
this guy,
And
they don't
and you
mess with me.
guys. Yeah. But I knew I was gonna be okay. We're always okay.
Yeah,
But that was really wild. So yeah. Okay, well, really interesting stuff. I think we covered this pretty well, and I love that Brian has this in his book that really looks reptilian, actually,
it's
to
weird.
me.
I
Now that
mean,
I'm looking at it, it doesn't look human to me. It looks
no.
humanoid.
I mean, keep in mind that's only one page of this book.
I know,
There's
right?
so many levels to it. It's ridiculous.
Golly. Okay. That's fantastic. Okay, so that came out of there. All right, lots of weird stuff. That's the guy that you hear about back in 2010 that washed up on the shore that had the long fingers. All right. Well, I'm glad that there's a. I was actually online looking for a drawing of it and I couldn't find it. So this is fantastic that you actually have this, and that's in Brian's book.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, yeah, Plum Island, you guys. They say that it's actually. They say that they created Lyme disease there
Yeah.
allegedly
Yeah. Yes. I mean,
with ticks.
yeah, ticks. You know what I mean? Like if you look at the ticks that are here on Long Island, like we just encountered another one at Camp Hero that was never here before. We've been dealing with it for 2 years now, and we didn't know what it was, and it's Lone Star tick larva. They should be in Texas. Why are they here? Right? It doesn't make any sense. But I don't know. Here's my theory, and right for entertainment purposes only, whatever I got to say. Right? I think they were planted there. in and around the radar tower to keep people out. I tell you right now, I'm still dealing with it from summer. I'm still dealing with tick bites. I had over 100 on my left leg, from my foot around my kneecap. Had 20, and they're very, very itchy, like very itchy, horrible bites that don't go away.
Ooh.
I've never experienced anything like it in my life. It's enough to keep me out of there. I'm not going back. I'm not going back. Like, I won't go back in the tower. So if that was someone's, if that was their plan, it worked.
It worked. I know ticks are never fun, and I got bitten by bugs pretty bad up there myself. I don't know if it was all ticks, but it was something. Something got me. Now they say that nothing escapes any of these bio labs unless they want it to. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
And this is allegedly, right? But there's a guy named Michael Carroll who wrote a 2004 bestseller book called Lab 257. He was looking. It said it took a hard look at the PIADC. Okay, so that is, what is that an acronym for exactly? It's for the Plum Island, whatever it's called. I'm trying to find
Plum Island Animal Disease Control or something, probably.
Okay. Yes, whatever Mike just said. Absolutely.
Disease Center. That would be it. Yeah.
Plum Island Disease Center. Okay, so he said that he speculated that it was the birthplace of Lyme disease, theorizing that migrating birds also, they may have picked up the infected ticks from Plum Island and carried them across the Long Island Sound to Lyme, Connecticut. That's where it got its name from, where Lyme was first observed in 1975. Now, a lot of these articles that you read are like, it's a conspiracy theory. It's not real. Okay, so just to say, I mean, we don't know for sure if it is or not. This is all just what just research. Okay, that I'm reading off the internet here. But it says that that a lot of these diseases that are coming out, they're supposed to be like natural. They're actually man-made diseases. Go figure, right? Yep. And so, yeah. I don't. I'm not going to keep going down that route, okay? Because I don't. It's all alleged.
It's horrible to see it. It's horrible to see Lyme disease in a mass form, right? And you'd be like, "Oh, how did you ever see that?" Like, when I was a teen, maybe younger, on Fire Island, we used to go vacation, right? And it's this long strip on the south shore of Long Island, this long strip of land called Fire Island. And there's a lot of different sections to it. But anyway, all the deer on there had Lyme's disease. All of them. And they were, I mean, you could see the ticks, like, covered. They were covered in ticks, and they had no skin, and, I mean, no fur. Patches of fur falling off, dark spots. I mean, they looked horrible. It was the most miserable thing to see. Like, all these beautiful deer, just all of them, every last one of them was sick, you know? Yeah. It was shitty. I forgot all about that till just now, honestly. Probably buried that somewhere.
Isn't that like prions disease or something that the deers get, and they look like they're like zombie deer?
Well, they get that. They had Lyme's. Those deer had Lyme's disease. I mean, they're one of the biggest carriers for it. But yeah, there's another one that I see occasionally, and I forget what it is, but it makes their tongue hang out of their mouth, and like, they almost look like they're drunk, and like they're very ill. And a lot of times I find them down near the coast, because something about the salt water helps them. Shit, I forget what it's called. It might be the one you're talking about, though.
Mm-hmm. Prions are, well, and they've also got those things. They're called no deers. I have not covered no deers or not deers. I can't remember if it's no deers or not deers on the show. Yeah, they're like zombie deers and stuff, and it's actually kind of sad, because I think it's some kind of brain disease or something they get. There's so many deers on Montauk at Montauk.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, we saw so many deers when I was there with you.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Yeah, they wander the street and they don't care.
Yes, well, they weren't scared of us. They weren't super scared of us, which was wild.
Yeah, no.
Okay, well, all right. Let's move on to the next topic today, because I've got one more topic that I definitely want to talk about. At least one more topic today, and that is a declassified book by these. Okay, this is a 3-letter agency. We'll just say the CIA. Okay, had declassified There was a book that came out. They ended up classifying like 57 pages, I think, of this book that came out in the 1960s. I called it a document, but I think it was like a full book, because here's the cover of it. It's called The Adam and Eve Story. Now, are you familiar with this? Have you ever heard of this before?
No.
I had not really heard of it either, but it's really interesting because this gentleman right here, his name's Dr. Chan Thomas. Dr. Chan Thomas. He wrote a book. In this book, it says he talked about how the Earth undergoes cataclysmic events every 6,500 years. I'll put the book back up in case you guys want to see it. Every 6,500 years, the Earth is destroyed and then it is rebirthed. It's like we go through, like, the civilizations get super advanced, and then a cataclysmic event happens and it pushes everybody it pushes civilization, anybody who's left living, into the dark ages again. And I'm not sure if it's time, if they're trying to like put it out there like, oh, it's time for another, apocalypse. I mean, because that's kind of like, I feel like that's where we're being pushed. You know what I mean? Like as a collective, it's like, oh, they're trying to get us to believe it. So like it happened or something. I don't know. This is my feeling. Okay. We're going to kind of go over the points of what this is about. But this is for a lot of us, like, this is not my timeline. I'm just saying, this is not my timeline. All right. And we assume we're advanced. I think civilizations have been far more advanced than we are right now.
Yeah.
Even recently.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure. The Colosseum in Italy 2,000 years ago, they used to flood that place. Flood it. I mean, they would have lions and, gladiators, and then they would flood it to the point where they would put ships inside of it, and they would have ship wars and battles, and then they would take the water out. And then, we don't know how to do that to this day. Right now, in this present moment, we don't know how to do that in a stadium. So go figure, right? Like, so we're so advanced and we've come so far, but we've come
a long way. But if you even look back and like things that are being kind of suppressed from the general public with the Tartarian Empire, something I've been talking about a lot lately are, the free energy buildings and all the technology. A lot of the technology they had back then, it's almost like it's brand new today. Like those, is it like a Tesla truck or those trucks that look very like futuristic?
Yeah.
They had that same model back in the 1800s.
Right.
Okay. And like motorized scooters and stuff. They had the same things that are like on the streets of Atlanta today. Like you can go rent a scooter. They had those same scooters back in the 1800s. Right. Which exactly like it.
I mean, nobody pays attention. Remember like cell phones started out this big, and then they couldn't make them small enough, right? Like that was it. Like they do smaller, and then everyone was like, to the point where the Zoolander was making fun of it with that tiny little phone, right? And like they were cool, so they had the tiny little phone, right? And now it's like they can't make them big enough, right? Big screens, big this. So everyone now they're going back to flip phones, right? Like it's just like I feel like they just toy with us, like, oh, watch this, like, right? Like puppets.
I know. Or either we're just like going back and forth from timeline to timeline. Like, it's just weird. It's weird. I think the word of the day is weird. I'm going to go back and watch this later. I'm going to count how many times I say weird, because this is a weird show today.
It is, yeah. I don't think we have any one direction, which is, not usually the case. So.
I love it. I said it was going to be laid back today. Okay. Well, I wanted to kind of talk about this book. Like, why was it classified? Like, who is this dude that wrote it? Why is it so important? I mean, anybody could write a book about this kind of stuff, be like, oh, well, this is just my prediction. Well, let me tell you, Mike, this guy was a psychic. And I thought it'd be interesting to talk about this today, to tie it into what Arkeem Ra and I talked about on Thursday night, because Arkeem had tasked me with 2 blind coordinate remote viewing targets.
Right.
And they both had to do with like the occult underground of Portland, Oregon.
Oh, right, right.
Something that he had experienced, him and Kat, and people he encountered, like people connected to the underworld, let's just say, like maybe Shilluminati kind of families and stuff. Okay. And so when I was remote viewing the second target, I kept getting data that involved, I kept seeing this Edgar Casey map. Okay. And I actually, like, that was a big part of my data, was this Edgar Casey map right here. And so this is like the apocalyptic map, okay, of the future. It says future map of the world right there. And Edgar Casey was a famous psychic. Okay, there's actually the Casey Center. I think the Edgar Casey Center, I think it's in South Carolina, maybe, or maybe it's in Florida. I don't know for sure.
I mean, that's pretty damn close to today, right?
It is. Okay, check this out. Look at how the United States is completely underwater on the West Coast and up where the Mississippi River flows.
Oh, yeah.
The coastlines are just kind of gone. Or there's new coastlines. Okay. And where I live looks like it's either going to be underwater or I will have oceanfront property over here in West Georgia. Okay. So, but this is kind of like, Barry and I have talked about this before about how it's kind of like they're putting all this apocalyptic stuff out to kind of push us to manifest it or something. It's almost like the collective consciousness is like, oh, we all expect an apocalypse. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's the Edgar Casey map that was very heavy in my data for those targets last week that I had. Well, let's go back to talk about this book from Dr. Chan Thomas. In 1966, Dr. Chan Thomas published a book called The Adam and Eve Story. It soon disappeared from public access after the CIA they classified it. The book talks about big disasters like pole shifts, mass extinctions, and the repeated destruction of advanced civilizations. It stayed mostly hidden until some parts were released years later. There's only 57 pages that are available right now. It's heavily edited. I don't know why it's so. It's like, well, it kind of backs up the theory of like most of our history is hidden from us, and it's not really in our history books. We're missing so many aspects of this. Now, Dr. Thomas was an American electrical engineer and a psychic who authored a hypothesis of global cataclysms involving radical shifts in Earth's electromagnetic fields that increase the viscosity of the crust, causing a rapid continental drift. Okay, now it says this is most notably described in his book Adam and Eve, the Adam and Eve story. This is like describing what my data was talking about on Thursday night with Arkeem, because I literally wrote down the San Andreas fault line, which is on the West Coast. Okay. And if you look at this map, it looks like there's been earthquakes, volcanoes were in my data. All this stuff was in my data. Okay. And then we got this. And then I come across this article over the weekend about this book with this guy. And I was like, wow, this is actually connected to that target that I did. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping that there's nothing to all this, and it's just like we've got 1,000 more years till this happens, if it happens. Okay, but what is your take on this, Mike? Because we've got all these we've heard about the mud flood, right? You've heard about the mud floods. Maybe didn't happen. Okay, but right now we're having mud floods all over the world. Look at North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt I don't doubt I don't know enough about remote viewing, but my question to you is this: like, is it like kind of when a psychic views something, like it doesn't necessarily mean it's right now or going to happen right now, or it already happened, or it could be any time.
It could be any time. I mean, so these are blind targets that I get. It's just a set of numbers. He honestly didn't know what to expect from my data. He was like, I don't know what to expect, but he based it there at that moment in time at that location. Okay, where he was. That's what the coordinates are. Okay, so those are the coordinates. He wanted me, the target was to look into that moment, like what was happening right there.
Okay.
And I mean, I was picking up on everything from like Maleficent, like the witch, but it ended up being like some witches and stuff were involved with this. Like all the data was it all was relevant to what he thought it could be, right? But he didn't know for sure. And that's a lot of times that's what remote viewing is. It's like we're looking into things. We don't know what kind of data we're going to get. We don't even know what the target is.
Yeah.
And so it's just odd that like San Andreas Fault, it's on that side of the country. Volcanoes, earthquakes, eruptions, lava, water. A lot of water was in my data, and so we get that. I keep seeing this map while I'm remote viewing it. I keep seeing this. And then I come across this guy right here, Dr. Chan Thomas. and his work that has been classified, not declassified, it's been classified
That's
by the
weird.
CIA. And it's
How?
talking
And
about,
this was just a book that he wrote.
yeah, yes.
How the hell
I was
do
going
they
to
do
say,
that? How do they classify someone else's stuff?
I know, right? I mean, why don't they just take it off the shelf and just be like, we're just not, you can't have this. Sorry. I mean, people that have these like amazing inventions, like cars that run off water and stuff, like they just disappear.
Yeah.
Why,
Well, yeah.
why did this guy, I mean, I'm not saying like he should have, but like, why didn't they just disappear the book? If that's kind of what they do, right? I mean, it's almost like, well, maybe they put this out here so that we'll find it and we'll harp on it and then it'll happen or something. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
super deep in these conspiracy theories now, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Well, you went down the TikTok hole.
Right. Oh my God. I know,
Once you
right?
jump in there, it's over.
Oh God, you'll lose. Like you talk about missing time. Go on
Yeah.
TikTok, y'all.
I had
I'm
to
not kidding.
I had to ban myself like a year ago because I was
My
just
God.
like I was sitting in there like just going
Oh
deeper
my
and
gosh.
deeper.
I know, right? I honestly, like, I haven't posted on TikTok in a long time. I made one post a couple weeks ago when I went on Midwest Night Watchers. I made a post when I filmed something when I was walking through the woods, right? And I had not posted in so long because when I get on there, I get lost in a vortex of just, I don't know. I don't know where I go. So it's a lot. It's a great way to distract people for sure. So
Yeah,
it does its job. It
there's
does its
good
job.
info in there too, though. I mean, there's good people that are doing good works, and
Yeah.
they know how to dig up the dirt. And then once once you start shoveling it, it's hard to get out.
Oh yeah.
There's so much of it there. It's uncensored compared to everything else. That's why, in my opinion, that's why the U.S. wanted to get rid of it. To get rid of TikTok. I don't think it had anything to
Yeah.
do with our safety, right?
Mhm.
They could give a shit less.
Right. Absolutely. I think so too. I think you can post anything there. It's not censored. Okay. And at least not that I know of. I don't know. And like I said, it's like you get sucked into your cell phone if you're sitting there swipe, swipe, swipe. Like, oh my God. Overload. Okay, overload. And so I have taken a break from that a little bit. I'll probably get back on it today. I got to prepare myself, but I'll get back on it. I promise.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is an interesting comment. Joe says that map was a parallel timeline that we already changed with the weather tech. And, we do know. Oh, look, Arkeem is here. Hey, Arkeem. We were just talking about you, Arkeem, because we're talking about this map. I'm not sure how long you've been in here, but we were just talking about this map of Edgar Casey's and how this is actually really related with my remote viewing data with those targets that you gave me, Arkeem. Related to this book right here with the Adam and Eve story. Okay. And how it's been classified by the 3-letter agency. This is the author of it, to cover up whatever, maybe it's the history. I mean, think about all the civilizations that they say have been lost. And I have done remote viewing on Atlantis and Mu. I think it's Mu.
Sorry.
I've done blind targets on both of those.
Yeah.
One was given to me by Bryce and her friend, and then the other was given to me by Barry.
Okay.
Okay. And in the Atlantis one, I was actually seeing horse-headed humans and stuff. And that's something that I remote viewed for Jeremiah Fountain, the horse-headed human.
Yeah.
And I was seeing that from Atlantis. And it's just weird how all these targets are like combined or connected.
Yeah, Jeremiah's got some weird stuff going on up there too. He's up north of me.
I know. I just talked to him yesterday. I hadn't talked to Jeremiah in so long. I've been in contact with them a little bit. I need to get Jeremiah back on the show too. He's got some interesting stuff. He lives in the Adirondacks, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, gosh, Mike, this is just really cool. This is really fantastic. I'm glad that we got to hang out today and talk about this stuff. I think that this is going to do. I think that this needs a little bit more research as far as this Adam and Eve book goes. This guy
Yeah,
has.
that's weirding me out. Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
It's a little odd, but
Yeah.
It sounds like they didn't. I agree. They should have just made it disappear, the whole book in general, instead of letting this guy. I mean, it looks worse to have all the stuff gone. You know.
Yeah, it does, but it's just kind of it's like a conspiracy theorist dream or something or night. I don't know if it's a dream or nightmare. I don't know. Like why would they just leave it out there with redacted, chapters or black things blacked out and I mean it's not a government document by any means. It's just like a guy, a psychic electrical engineer's book. So
I don't know. Maybe to make an example out of them.
I don't know. I've got a lot of questions with this one.
Me too.
I've got a lot of questions. I'm looking in the chat right now, see if anybody's got any answers to this one, because I don't. I don't. Yeah. But yeah, I did a show on that Mew remote viewing thing on Bryce's channel. I might upload it to my channel one day. Maybe if there's especially if there's like a day that I'm not gonna be able to do a show on a Thursday. I'll show that. That was a great target. And actually answered a lot of questions that they had about Mew. And I do believe that existed. Atlantis existed, I do believe. Mew existed, I do believe.
What's Mew? I don't know what that is.
Mew, it's like Atlantis.
Oh, okay.
It's like another continent that disappeared.
Yeah. Well, you ever seen Montauk University?
Love that guy. Yes.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
Roger shows it. I think on land now, you know what I mean? It's like, you'd have to go back, and my memory doesn't serve me well enough to go back that far. So, but I think he touches on Atlantis, and it's pretty interesting.
Yes, and Lumeria too. Thank you, Kimmel. I appreciate that. Yes, it's Lumeria, Mew, and Atlantis are the ones that I know of. Now, I've even gotten some targets from Barry where he had me remote view High Brazil to High Brazil. And I didn't know what High Brazil was when he was explaining it to me after I did the target. My target involved something that was it was like inner earth, connected to inner earth. And it was almost like it was something that was having to rise to the surface to like power up and then go back down.
Oh.
Okay, so there's like an island. They say that this thing is called the Phantom Island, and it surfaces every like 7 years, I think. And so this one, whatever I was remote viewing was like coming from inner earth, and it was like going up to, I think it was like solar powering or something. And Barry was in the chat, so maybe Barry could.
That's cool.
Expand on that, but
that is cool.
Yeah, we have a lot of really interesting things in our world. Very interesting things. But yeah. Well, this has been awesome, Mike. This has been awesome. What do you have going on? Do you have any final thoughts on our show today? What you think?
Which part? No, yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I got a lot of questions about it all. About it all. Right? We only well, that's why we got to do things like this. Like I tell you all the time, this is like the best channel because you're so consistent. There's so much variety. You include so many people, whether in a chat or even as guests, and like, you know, it's unparalleled. So just keep doing what you do.
Thank you, Mike. That's so sweet. I appreciate that. Listen, I like to switch things up and keep it spicy. Okay, I like to keep things spicy over here. Definitely. And I don't want to get stuck in the rut of where like I'm always talking about Bigfoot and Dogman.
Sure.
Because you can only talk about Bigfoot and Dogman so much, and I love talking about them. You know, I am a boots on the ground field researcher, just like yourself, and that's fun. I do have some more boots on the ground trips planned soon, and I'll come back. We'll be talking about Bigfoot and Dogman some more, but I like to talk about other stuff too, because we're connecting dots. We're definitely connecting dots.
Yeah, it's good to you know, even the same topic, you come at it from different angles, right? With different people and different ideas and different you know, outlooks from different individuals, and that's good. It's good to do. You know, it's an open area that a lot of people aren't open to. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, you have a pretty exciting channel too. Do you want to tell the audience about your channel on YouTube and anything you got going on? What you got?
Yeah, I mean, I have a good understanding on a personal level of what I'm dealing with and what I got going on, and I don't try to force it too hard on anybody, but I just go out and kind of walk around and hike and film and, give my ideas here and there, without going into too much to sway anybody. I just kind of give, my little idea about what I'm doing and what I'm looking at and what I'm looking for, and just kind of bring people along for the journey front to back. So, occasionally I go on an expedition if finances allow me to, and that's about it. Otherwise, I go locally anywhere in southern New York.
Oh yeah, even to search for Champ at a Lake
Oh,
Champlain too.
Yeah, that was a long
That was
trip.
awesome.
That was far away, but yeah, that was a good time. It's a good time.
Awesome. Well, I want to say happy birthday to our friend Deco D. Today is his birthday. Y'all give him a shout out. Go to his social media, Deco D Hip Hop on Instagram and on Facebook. Go tell him happy birthday today. Okay. And he was gracious enough to come on the show Saturday night. Next time I'm up in New York, we're gonna pick him up and go Bigfooting. Okay.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, he's good people.
Oh yeah, super good people, and we'll get Brian up there. And thank you to Brian Minnick for providing us with that excerpt today from your book of that really creepy long-fingered humanoid that washed up over near Plum Island back in 2010. We appreciate you very much, Brian, and I can't wait to get you back on the show very soon. Okay, and we'll talk about some of these weird creatures that come out of the Montauk area, including Long Island Bigfoot Mike. He's a weird creature too. I'm just kidding.
Oh, you're not. That's good. That's good. Keeping it real.
Keeping it real.
Humans are the weirdest thing ever.
We are. Well, we're friends, so I can say I was kidding. I was kidding. But,
yeah, it's okay.
I know. It's a good time. Good times, man. All right. Well, everybody, thank y'all so much for joining us today. This has been a wonderful, wonderful show. And Mike, you always make it more fun, for sure. And so you guys, please, everybody stay safe out there. And I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Happy birthday to Dinko. Dinko, if you're watching, we're sending all of our love to you and hope you have a great day. All right, y'all. Come back and see me on Wednesday. I'll be here on a glitch in the Matrix. And until then, y'all have a great, like I said, you have a great day. And our Keem is here. Yes, roses for Montauk. Yes, we do want to remember everybody who was a victim and had to, deal with the aftermath too. The people who survived Montauk as well. We want to keep those people in our continued prayers for sure. So thank you for being here, Arkeem. Thank you for being here, Mike. Long Island Bigfoot Mike. Y'all go subscribe.
Arkeem and Brian and all this, such good guys.
Great guys, for sure. And I'm glad that we could connect some more dots today. And so I do think that Barry was saying that that's not the Edgar Casey map. Maybe it's got another name to it. But
okay.
But that map that shows the U.S. flooded and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, that's not my timeline. All right, I'm not consenting to that timeline. Even though I would have oceanfront property over here.
Maybe
it's probably not best.
Maybe.
Right? Maybe if it's left, if we got land left over here.
Go past or before, we'll see.
Otherwise, maybe I should just invest in a boat. Maybe we'll just do that.
There you go.
Okay. Well, Mike, have a great day. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Y'all please stay safe out there. Okay. And keep your head on a swivel and your heart wide open. All right. See you, Mike.